one wants to be wrong. So you're obviously going to be defensive. A lot of people are going to be defensive. You may not be open to what people say, and then nothing gets accomplished. So I myself feel that there was a little bit of a missed opportunity, on it. I do like a lot of information that was put out. Tyler, who's up, Tyler from the BS Report, he put out some very good information, when it comes to the flag. He and the information he put out followed up. I saw Max Kellerman on ESPN talking about it. So on First Take, as far as like how people were talking about disrespecting the flag. So a lot of stuff that NFL players are doing are not disrespecting the flag when it comes to the actual rules and guidelines for what it is about disrespecting the flag. There are people that's out there disrespecting the flag according to those rules and guidelines. And a lot of it was, some of it was, you're not supposed to wear the flag on any type of uniform if you're not, involved in the military, or you're not supposed to put it on items that can be discarded. And we see all the time people put them on plates and napkins and all that stuff. We don't keep that stuff. We throw it away. And I've said it before in previous episodes, is that people will always talk about, the players not standing, or they're not, acknowledging the national anthem, and, or they're, people need to take off their hats or whatever. It's been plenty of times I've been to an event where everyone is not participating like they should. And to point out that because someone decides, to use this opportunity just to bring awareness, and they try and discredit the person or say they're unpatriotic, which doesn't make any sense. It's ridiculous. And I said, how many times, I can tell you, I've been to plenty of football games, Super Bowl parties, and all that, NBA final parties, and been at people's houses, and the national anthem is going off, and people are talking, people are eating, and nobody's standing. People are sitting down, and it goes for other sporting events, as well. And if you're at home, just because you're in the comfort of your home doesn't absolve you from, if you're trying to point out what other people are doing wrong, it doesn't absolve you just because you're at home and you're doing it in public. So that's what I'm getting at, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not focus on who's right, who's wrong. It's more of coming to an understanding of what the situation is, because the situation is very serious. It's very serious, and the whole unity thing, like I said, it was great, but it was kind of like, oh, wait a minute. He came for me now, so now I got to say something. And when I'm saying me, I mean like the owners. They're just like, oh, he came at me, so now we got to rally the troops. And they got a bigger voice than one football player or a handful of football players that's trying to say the same thing. So use that as an opportunity as well to talk about social injustice, basically what it was supposed to be in the first place. So I'm going to get off that. We're not going to, get into, this whole politic thing on this show, but I did want to get my 2 cents in. This Sunday, I'm a season ticket holder at the Falcons. I say that all the time. I know, Dan Quinn was talking about, the fans, uniting and armed, I'm going to say I'm not down for that, and it's not that I'm just being a Debbie Downer, or I'm hating on anything like that. But, for me, I show love to everyone day in and day out, So if they want to do it, that's fine. I have no problem with that. That is awesome. But just because if someone doesn't participate doesn't mean that they feel a certain way, So you gotta respect, both sides. You gotta respect everyone. And then if they get that out the way and they have a dialogue, I think things will be better. But if you're just sitting on both sides and you're just trying to figure out who's right, who's wrong, then no one ever wins, on this. And the president did a pretty good job. He diverted the attention away from, what it was originally supposed to be about, at least for one weekend. So, but we're going to get off that, and what we're going to get into, we're going to start getting into these sports topics, going on in the NFL, NBA, NCAA, and all that good stuff. But before I get into that, let me send some quick love to some people that have jumped into the chat room. Again, this is the Wait a Minute Show with your man, Jelani JB Bodie. And if you're on here with me live, you can chat it up with me. Holla at me. Hit me up. I'll read the chat and I stay interactive. I try to answer as many questions as possible. But shouts out to my man Seth Galloway. Shouts out to Sluggo. Shouts out to Denise, Milk and Cookies. My man Melvin is in the building as well. And 334 Bama Boy has jumped in here as well. From the bottom podcast is also in here, Mac Farrell. So, and we got other people that's jumping in as we go through this thing. So appreciate y'all for jumping in there, and all the people that's just listening that's not in the chat room as well. So I'm gonna get into a little bit, from the past, but not too far in the past. But Florida University football, they are in the news again, and it is not for a good reason. So they got 8 players facing felony charges for credit card fraud. If you haven't heard of this, you probably already have, but I want to get into my perspective on this. Now, here's the thing about it. Florida has been in the news for something, I mean, if you go back, you can go back to Cam Newton with the laptop, and all that stuff. You can go back to, Aaron Hernandez has got into a fight. Tim Tebow, I think breaking it up. Then you got other, Florida players getting in trouble, with the law and everything. So it's nothing new, but let me tell you what this is. And I'm not advocating it, but I'm just like, damn, don't do it. Look, that's the first thing. Don't do it, and I'm not going, but let me just tell you what happened. You got 8 players. I'm not going to go through the names. There's too many of them, but, and Sluggo is right in here saying lack of institutional control at Florida. These brothers, I'm not going to say their names, but these brothers decided that they were going to, and this is the report, so no one has been convicted, so this is allegedly, what is going on. So these brothers have allegedly committed credit card fraud. But the reason that I say this is that it's the way that, if this is true, the way that they got caught, and this is just kids being just ridiculously ignorant to the fact. So I'm going to go through some of this stuff. Now, so if you run into a credit card fraud, if you, and you are, the whole point is to be covert, not to get caught, not to bring attention to yourself. If you've seen the movie Goodfellas, Robert De Niro, you know what part I'm talking about. It's like, hey, I told you not to buy anything. I told you, and all that stuff. I got a horrible accent, for Goodfellas. But let me tell you some of the stuff that they were buying. And I'm going to give you the totals. One of them, they got a MacBook Pro, Beat Solo 3, the wireless headset. Didn't even bother to get the wire. Total money spent, over $2,000. Another person got, I guess they saw one. They said, I got to get one too. Another Mac Pro, some Beat Solo 3 wireless headphones, and a Boomstream Mini Bluetooth speaker, over $1,300. Another one, got a MacBook Pro, same thing, wireless headphones, over $1,800. So you see where I'm going. Now, one person did say, you know what, maybe I'll go a little bit small, and they went with an iPad where it was $424. But what I'm getting at is, you all probably went to the same Apple store or the Apple location. You probably went there together, and you probably wore your college outfit, practice shirts, or whatever it is to point yourself out. And to get yourself caught, and they said that they're accused of using stolen credit cards to add money, or that was adding money to their university spending account. So now you putting money on your name, not a second person, a cousin, or something like that. A fall guy or whatever, on your name. Or you just made a direct purchase. So the reason I'm saying this is that maybe this is why Florida is having problems with getting quarterbacks, or they're struggling, with players. They always will get players because they're Florida, but they're not the Florida that they used to be, And like Sluggo said, this is a lack of institutional control. You know, you got to be able to realize, like, not one, not two, not three. I'm going LeBron, not four, not five. You know, you got 8 dudes that all got new stuff. And you know they didn't wait. They didn't say, all right, you get yours the first month and I get mine 2 months later. You know they didn't. And y'all didn't even notice none of that? Come on, man. Come on. You know, when is it going to stop? And obviously it's not, because we got some more to talk about later on in the show. But you got to be, come on. Don't do it. Just don't do it. That's my message. Don't do it. It's not worth it. So now you done got yourself in trouble. You probably kicked off the team. You're going to be labeled, you know, a troublemaker or someone that's not trustworthy. And now you done hurt the program. And all this other stuff is going to come down, and they're going to look at you and be like, here they go again. Here go Florida again. Different coach, same story. At first it was Urban Meyer, but now you got a different coach there. You got the same problem. Florida got to get it together. You know, don't do it. Don't do it. That's all I said. Don't do it. So it's Wednesday night. It's your man, Jelon JB Bodie and Lopan. We in this building tonight. And we got a game tomorrow. Actually, a pretty good game. Should be a pretty good game. The Green Bay Packers are taking on the Chicago Bears. And I know people are like, whoa, wait a minute. What do you mean a good game? Well, this is the longest standing rivalry in NFL history between the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers. And the Chicago Bears have played Green Bay pretty well. They're a divisional foe. So usually you do play your divisional team, unless you're in the AFC East. That's probably about the only exception. But usually you do play your divisional foe, you know, pretty well. And what I'm going to be looking for in this game is that it's not the quarterback matchup. I mean, everyone's going to give the nod to Aaron Rodgers. So we don't even need to touch base, you know, on that. It's more of this Green Bay team that we're looking at needs to get better on defense. Aaron Rodgers has had to bail them out entirely too many times. Now, I'm not just putting it all on the defense, but their defense has been suspect. Chicago, their passing game is very suspect. They didn't have any passing game to beat Pittsburgh last week. And let's just be honest, that normally doesn't happen against a good team. Especially a good team with Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, Martavis Bryant. I mean, normally that doesn't happen to a team like that, you know. But Chicago has played some teams tough. Atlanta, they're 3-0. They play Atlanta tough. They just couldn't finish the deal. They could have gave Atlanta an L, you know. They finished the deal with Pittsburgh. So for this game tomorrow night, I'm going to look forward to it. I want to see if Jordan Howard, who was a sensation second half of the season, can he establish himself? Can Mike Glennon provide some type of passing attack? Can these wide receivers do something against the defense? But what I want to see from the Green Bay defense is that, can they get upfield? Can they get to the quarterback? Now, they've done it, you know, here and there, but not consistently. And they still got a problem with their secondary. Aaron Rodgers has had to bail this team out entirely too much. Ty Montgomery has done a pretty good job. Again, this is his actual real first year, I would say, as a running back. So I'm sure he's still learning. But for what he's doing for that team, I'll give him credit. Jordy Nelson had an injury. That's the problem. Jordy, you know, seems to, at this point, always going to guarantee, you know, some type of injury on it. But he fights through. Can Randall Cobb? Can Devontae Adams? Can Geronimo Allison? Can those guys step up? They really haven't got anything too much from Martellus Bennett, you know. offensive